Good evening, my fellow Virgin Islanders and friends. I'm Donna M. Christensen, your Democratic nominee for Governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. As we enter the last month of the 2014 elections, it is abundantly and painfully clear that we here in the Virgin Islands are in the midst of an economic challenge unparalleled in our lifetime. After years of many difficulties, when we had just begun to weather the storms of a worldwide global recession, we were hit with a tsunami of our own, the closing of our largest employer, Hovenza, followed by the unemployment and small business closings that came in its wake. We were already experiencing high energy bills due to the rising cost of fossil fuels, when the buffer of having a refinery in our backyard was removed. And so for many of us, especially those of us living on the island of St. Croix, the challenge of making ends meet, of paying the mortgage, our child's tuition, our doctor bills became very difficult. For our government, the loss of revenue to our tax base from which we draw funding for government services and salaries has been constricting. It has forced our leadership into borrowing and making tough, unpopular decisions in order to keep our islands afloat. It has made us anxious as we've had to prioritize limited resources to keep our hospitals certified and to ensure that our government employees have health insurance. So as I've moved around the territory, meeting and speaking with many of you, from teachers to taxi drivers, from policemen to shop owners, to men and women in our stores, the number one question has been, so what are you going to do about it? What is your plan for moving the Virgin Islands forward? This evening, I wish to share with you the Christensen-Ottley plan aimed at unleashing the power of the people of this territory. It's a plan that's built on a platform of economic development, as our situation demands, but it encompasses our social and political aspirations as well. The Christensen-Ottley plan is built on both a short-term economic stimulus that we can undertake immediately and long-term initiatives that will give us the framework for sustainable development that will lead us to the quality of life that we want for ourselves, our children, and for generations to come. Within the first 10 days of being sworn into office, I will deploy a series of initiatives that will immediately stimulate the economy, create and maintain jobs, and provide desperately needed services to the residents of the Virgin Islands. The people of the Virgin Islands demand immediate relief, and that's what we will deliver upon taking office. The situation, especially on St. Croix, does not give us the luxury of waiting until January 5th to begin. We have already contacted potential partners to lay the foundation for what will have to be a strong and early economic stimulus. Indeed, if elected, our work will begin in earnest on November 5th. We will bring together the departments of Licensing and Consumer Affairs, Planning and Natural Resources, the Lieutenant Governor's Office, the Economic Development Authority, and many other relevant offices to identify the barriers that must be removed to streamline all of the processes needed to start up or expand businesses in the Virgin Islands. We will be prepared to do what is needed to remove those barriers on day one. We will identify all projects that are approved, permitted, and funded, and put them into operation to begin the job creation that our people have needed for far too long. Many of the projects that have been laid are on St. Croix, where that stimulus is most needed. We will make it our priority to jumpstart those projects so that we can address the very high unemployment on St. Croix. We will evaluate our financial management system through the auspices of the Department of Interior to identify gaps and deficiencies so that we can begin in January to ensure that we have a fully integrated and comprehensive system that can speed up financial processes and increase accountability for the money we receive and need to keep in the territory to provide the services that our people deserve. We will do it all and all that is necessary to jumpstart our economy. But if it's necessary, we're prepared to declare a state of exigency or emergency so that we can move to implement the following. To reprogram a minimum of $6 million to begin or complete roadway repairs. Territory-wide, Virgin Islands motorists have endured dangerously neglected streets and roadways for far too long. The roads will include on St. Croix, the streets of Christensen, Williams the Light Road, Project Emancipation Drive Road, in Frederiksted, Queen Mary Highway, Lower Love Road, and Mahogany Road. On St. John, Kings Hill Road, Bordeaux Mountain Road Phase 2, and Johnny Horn Trail. On St. Thomas, Brookman Road, Cokie Point Road, Harwood Highway, Estate Thomas Road, and Agnes Fancy Road. I will immediately also program a minimum of $1 million to clean up our town areas and residential neighborhoods territory-wide. I'll direct the Department of Public Works to collaborate with the Waste Management Authority and other government agencies to lead the effort to clean and maintain our town areas, neighborhoods, and roadways, utilizing small businesses and entrepreneurs who are willing to employ our unemployed youth. This program will continue while we develop comprehensive economic development plans that will provide for bringing our entire workforce training programs under one umbrella and ensure that the workforce is trained for the jobs our long-term plan will deliver. I will provide a package of tax credits available to businesses if they agree to hire and train residents between the ages of 18 and 25 and maintain their employment for a minimum of 1 year. I will immediately identify funding to ensure we have a minimum of $2 million to augment the Energy Assistance Fund in order to assist eligible senior citizens and low-income residents while initiatives to lower WAPA bills are being implemented. I will immediately hire additional revenue officers within the Bureau of Internal Revenue to collect individual and business taxes that represents the tens of millions of dollars owed to the government of the Virgin Islands. We currently collect only slightly more than half of the taxes owed, funds that are needed to pay the government WAPA bills and relieve residential and business consumers of that burden, funds to shore up the territory's hospitals and health services, funds to repair our schools so that our children can learn in buildings that let them know that this community cares about their well-being, and funds that can allow us to alleviate some of the tax burdens our businesses are faced with. I have already begun working with our legislature and some of the aspirants, and will continue through the transition and thereafter to create further short-range plans for actions that will immediately assist in creating jobs, as well as medium and long-term plans that will make the recovery we will start sustainable. I will call a special session within the first few days of my administration to collaborate with the legislature to reprioritize, reprogram, and revitalize the fiscal year 2015 budget. Through our relationships with President Obama, the Congress of the United States, and the various federal agencies, I will request an emergency meeting where we will identify new federal funding we have not taken advantage of, and where I will request the reprogramming of specific federal funds that the territory can immediately apply toward job creation, relief in our electricity costs, and repair of our educational facilities. Revitalizing the economy of St. Croix is, of course, of utmost importance to the Christensen Ottley team. In the aftershock of Hovenza's closing, too many businesses have closed, forcing many of our friends and neighbors to relocate off-island, and putting many of our private schools and our not-for-profit agencies who provide critical social services at risk as donations and public support dwindled. It's our job to reverse that trend, and we will. We intend to have an immediate infusion of capital from sources we're seeking right now into the St. Croix economy to begin to create an environment of renewal that will encourage investors, big and small, to open businesses and that will give existing businesses a reason for hope. And let me take a few minutes to salute the people of the Virgin Islands, the businesses who continue to keep their doors open during these tough times, the many small entrepreneurs, many of them young people venturing out into the fields of energy, e-commerce, agri and marine business, and new media platforms to make their mark on their home islands and to form the basis of the new Virgin Islands economy that is emerging before our eyes. I also want to commend many in their parents' generation and the carpenters, electricians, taxi drivers who continue to keep our territory alive in the midst of very difficult circumstances. I salute the business owners from Christensen to Frederiksted, to Charlotte Amalie, to Cruz and Coral Bay, who, while frustrated, have not given up, knowing that when we turn these economic circumstances around, all of us will reap the fruits of peace, prosperity, and progress. We owe the people of the Virgin Islands a government that works, and that provides critical infrastructure and services. Our administration will focus on St. Croix not only because it's the hardest hit in this economy, because it represents the greatest potential for growth and opportunity in these Virgin Islands. Basil and I are committed to deliver on our people's demands for an improved infrastructure and improved services. We have already begun a comprehensive review of initiatives that are already on the books, but have not yet been given the focus that would turn them into long-term economic benefits. I understand that moving quickly to invest in our infrastructure and provide for new and diverse business opportunities is the key to St. Croix's long-term growth and development. Consequently, I will move with all deliberate speed to implement the following: to increase traffic to the Henry Rolson Airport so that investors will begin to develop new hotels on St. Croix; to establish the Henry Rolson Airport as FAA airline maintenance certification facility. This should fit in with the expected reopening of the oil refinery, where airlines can refuel at discounted rates, and providing discounted fuel should be a major part of any negotiations to reopen that refinery. With the expansion of the Panama Canal, St. Croix, through our South Shore facilities, is well positioned to develop as a transshipment port facility and/or a transshipment logistics center. I have had extensive discussions with investors who are prepared to partner with the public sector to make this a reality. The branding of St. Croix will be carefully developed to reflect our unique cultural heritage. In addition to our short-term stimulus to clean up our towns and neighborhoods, we propose a long-term town revitalization plan, which would set aside 10% of all funding and programs for our most economically and physically distressed communities. As part of our comprehensive plan, I will work with the next Virgin Islands delegate to Congress to ensure that the National Heritage Area legislation is passed and enacted into law. Benefits of that designation for St. Croix include access to up to $1 million per year for 10 years to support entities and businesses that support the National Heritage Area, the advertising of St. Croix by the National Park Service and the associations, support in preserving our historic and cultural treasures, enhancement of our unique tourism product, enhancement of cultural education, and the opportunity for local small business growth in the tourism sector. It is important to stress that the National Heritage Area puts no land under federal control and creates no new laws or regulations. Ours would be run by a completely local non-governmental coalition of nonprofits. Despite the fact that we have not received the designation, with the help of the Department of Interior, we have already begun to lay the foundation. And statistics show that cultural and heritage visitors stay longer, spend more, and establish a deeper connection to the destination. And they're also more likely to return. On St. Thomas, while ensuring that our cruise tourism remains competitive, we must enhance the tourism product, revitalize our neighborhoods on both islands, and focus on increasing our longer-staying visitors. Two projects that we will also expedite, and which are examples of infrastructure significant to our economic growth, are the Veterans Drive and Main Street improvement projects. To support our initiatives and ensure that government is not an obstacle within the first 6 months, we will require our commissioners and directors to move with all deliberate speed. We will hold each one accountable for making quality, ethical decisions with a sense of urgency that must exist. We will invite investors to our shores and encourage them to participate in our attractive Economic Development Commission programs. Basil and I are invited to participate in a public-private development conference in February, where investors are paired with governments to make economic development matches that are beneficial to both parties. It was the restructuring of the EDA program that led to the expansion of our economy during the Turnbull administration. That expansion left a surplus in the territory's coffers. Similarly, the territory is strongly positioned to take advantage of the expanding economy of the United States. The jobs created for residents, the new opportunities for the creation of small businesses, and in general, new money circulating in our economy will benefit our Treasury and therefore benefit all of us. Utilizing the RT Park and our EDA benefit package, I will pursue establishing the Virgin Islands as a startup and innovation center. If New York can do it, we can do it better. We've already formed a relationship with foreign investment EB5 regional centers, which have been established for the Virgin Islands. In this program, a foreign investor can get a green card by putting $500,000 or more into projects or businesses to help grow our economy and create jobs. These centers have been very successful in other jurisdictions. The Christensen Ottley administration will leverage all of our discretionary funds combined with interest income from certain bond proceeds, along with interest income from other governmental deposits, and this will generate capital to drive St. Croix and all Virgin Islands projects forward. And we will guide the territory through a discussion of the advantages and disadvantages of being outside of the customs zone, and continue the work of several years with carriers and the federal government to address the adverse consequences of their policies and our high shipping costs. The Christensen Ottley commitment to our government workforce will be equally intense. We are committed to providing wages that reflect the cost of living. We are committed to providing training and retraining so that our employees have the competent skill set to improve the critical government services provided to the average citizen, to our local businesses, and to the new businesses that we will attract to revitalize our economy. My administration will implement the living wage study, which was done as a result of legislation that my running mate, Basil Ottley, authored and passed when he served as a Virgin Islands senator. This simply means that we will pursue wage formulas that provide for salary adjustments to meet the rising cost of living. And as we meet with investors, we're making it clear that providing a living wage for workers in both the public and private sector is extremely important to us. We will create economic activity that will be geared to generating capital that would adequately fund education, public safety, health, and other critical government services. We will commit to working to pay all government workers, to include teachers, police, firefighters, nurses, and others at a rate that reflects their professionalism and commitment. And we will move to establish a new minimum salary level for government employees from $20,000 to $25,000 per annum. We will identify a reliable funding source that would fully satisfy negotiated union contracts. We will implement programs that will focus on gathering and analyzing data, and that will help us to improve governance and make government more efficient and responsive. Because we have an unfunded liability of over $1 billion, the health of the government employees' retirement system is crucial to the health of our economy. More importantly, many of our retirees rely on the GRS as their main source of income. A collapse of that system would not only be catastrophic for them, but it will be yet another negative ripple effect throughout our economy. The Christensen Ottley administration will identify revenue to bring this liability down. We will honor the commitment to current retirees and to those close to retirement age, and create sustainable reforms that offer additional and alternative retirement-saving vehicles for newer employees. And let me be crystal clear. New taxes will not be a part of our agenda. To the contrary, we will fully and promptly analyze and evaluate the possibility of rolling back taxes and giving the consumer more spending power. It is our plan to expand our tax base by growing the economy, creating new jobs with wages that families can live on, and to expand the tax base by creating an atmosphere where both the private and public sectors thrive in a complementary relationship of economic productivity and efficient delivery of services. We are also very concerned about the impact of high property taxes on St. John families and on home ownership. We will immediately review the exploding property tax rates that have engulfed the residents of St. John. In his capacity as tax assessor, my running mate will review processes that have led to the incredible property tax increases. We will do what is necessary to fix what appears to be an unfair burden placed on the property owners in St. John. We will consider a moratorium on the increases until we determine the best course of action. The Christensen Ottley administration will be inclusive and transparent. As the people are our most important stakeholders, we will reach out to all segments and make sure that their concerns are an integral part of our decision-making. We must invest in our people to ensure that they have the necessary training in all of their fields of interest. We must refresh our tax incentive programs that have been successful in stimulating the economy, creating investments, providing jobs, and putting money in our treasury. We will establish new categories of incentives to assist local businesses to include the taxi industry and entrepreneurs so that it can be more competitive. The Christensen Ottley administration will utilize the Hotel Development Act that is already in place, and we will use our contacts to bring hotel and other projects that will get our economy moving again. With the build-out of broadband technology and infrastructure made possible in part by my membership on the Technology Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce during the rollout of the federal economic stimulus, we have the platform from which our entrepreneurs, young and old, can launch businesses that are not only beneficial to the Virgin Islands economy, but will integrate us into the global marketplace, from which many more benefits can be derived. We intend to hit the ground running with shovel-ready projects that we can begin immediately and push through to completion. During my 9 terms in Congress as delegate, I participated in and advocated for and was successful in the delivery of over $2 billion new federal dollars coming to the Virgin Islands. Those monies have been spread across many areas, from education to police to fire, health, natural resources, in many areas that directly impact the lives of Virgin Islanders. In the area of transportation, I was successful in restoring Federal Aviation Administration discretionary grant funding for the King and Wilson airports. My colleagues have assured me that the approximately $16 million will continue to come to the Virgin Islands so that we can upgrade facilities on both islands. We will offer stakeholder status to several airlines and offer them incentives to bring passengers to St. Croix year-round. Already, through my work with the former Secretary LaHood, the study on increasing airlift to St. Croix is already bearing fruit. And there must be no delay in preparing adjacent land to facilitate private jets that can be securely parked in close proximity to the runway. The entire Wilson Airport should be retrofitted so that the local businesses can once again operate within that facility. We will create incentives for the King Airport as well, but St. Croix must be the priority to stem the loss of economic activity on that island. We must avidly pursue installing jet bridges at both airports. It is an important part of improving our tourist experience. Basil and I know that the economy and education are inextricably linked. While we must address student achievement, the facilities, financial management, and teacher satisfaction across the education spectrum, we must revisit the Department of Education's career and technical education programs to ensure that they are geared toward the preparation of our students, our future 21st century workforce. Our goal will be to ensure that every student that graduates is workforce ready with a certificate or license in a career field, regardless of whether they are going to college, the military, a technical and career advanced program, or going directly into the workforce full-time. One area of focus will be to develop a marine education curriculum in our schools, from elementary through high school, so that students graduate ready for a career in the marine industry if that is their area of interest. We must build on the growing interest in agriculture and mariculture, and the great job that's already being done by teachers and others in the schools to interest students and show them the possible career pathways in those industries. We must increase collaboration between the University of the Virgin Islands and the Department of Education so that the expectations of what it takes to make our students college ready are clear. We must align our science, technology, and engineering and math programs from elementary to high school and to college with increased education and training opportunities and the availability of jobs from the new STEM-focused businesses that we will attract through our EDC programs. In addition to the traditional areas of tourism, ROM, energy, and small business, a key component of our long-term economic development strategy will be the development of a science and technology plan. Around the world in our country, science and technology now drive economic growth and shape public policy. The Virgin Islands should not be left behind, as countless states have already begun major comprehensive planning. Many are coining it as a 2020 plan, but ours should be the Virgin Islands 2018 plan, as we pledge to accomplish these things by that year. And as Vice Chair of the Governing Committee of the Virgin Islands Experimental Program to Stimulate Competitive Research, EPSCoR, I understand the importance of creating, implementing, and adhering to a strong science and technology plan, because communities that have one acknowledge that in order to compete in a global economy, all stakeholders, to include citizens, schools, businesses, educational institutions, governmental entities, all have to be engaged. It is critical that we have science, technology, engineering, and mathematics research, an educated and skilled workforce, and an entrepreneurial business environment to compete and to improve our place in a global economy. Economic development in all sectors is dependent on modern science and engineering, and continued economic growth will be facilitated by smart planning and smart investments in science and technology, both within higher education and in other ways. A critical part of our science and technology plan will be to invest in green technologies that offer multi-pronged benefits to the community, such as the technology we recently learned about that can improve energy efficiency for homes, businesses, and major government buildings, and offer fuel savings between 25 and 35%. We can explore such projects as this initially as a pilot project to ascertain the potential for the creation of green jobs and improved efficiency and savings. As we work with the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority, the VI Energy Office, and other federal and local partners, we support the creation of an integrated resource plan so that we will have the right mix of traditional and renewable natural resources to create affordable, sustainable, and resilient energy. In our roles in the Congress and at the Department of Interior, Basil and I were instrumental in bringing the Eden Project to the territory and providing the support to WAPA to develop the integrated resource plan that will not only give us a path to follow as we work to reduce the cost of energy, but will also demonstrate to the federal government and investors that we are serious about our economy and our energy costs. Basil and I also know that public safety is crucial to our community as we move forward. We believe that providing a strong educational path and creating attainable economic opportunities is key to creating a safer community. We also know that we have to restore safety and security for all segments of the Virgin Islands public. We will enhance the federal-local partnership in law enforcement, ensure that our police force have increased training that protects their lives and those of the entire community, and we will maximize the use of technology to expand their capabilities. As your governor, I intend to establish a firm working relationship also with all members of the legislature and the delegates, so that there is common trust and collaboration on matters that are important for our islands. As delegate, I was able to bring billions in assistance to the Virgin Islands, but it was not my role to authorize spending. It's important that as governor, it will not only be my role, but it will be my responsibility. I will have the authority to set and identify priorities and act on them. My fellow Virgin Islanders, the plan that I have outlined tonight is the framework from which Basil, Ottley, and I will seek to govern our territory. We know that the challenges that we face did not develop overnight and will not be solved overnight. Virgin Islands voters are politically astute and know that we do not have all of the answers, nor do we pretend to. We know that as a community, we are all affected by the challenges and will all be helped when we implement changes that will work. We seek your input. We understand that when the tide rises, all boats must rise with it. The quality of leadership that we will bring into government house in 2015 will determine the future, the economic future of these islands for generations to come. Under my leadership, there will be an economic, cultural, and social renaissance that is in line with our vision of a Virgin Islands as a leader in this region for maintaining a high standard of living and a quality of life in line with our proud tradition and expectations. This can only happen by working closely with the Virgin Islands legislature and delegates and our community to explore new avenues for economic growth and prosperity without abandoning the stalwarts of our economy that brought us to this point in our history. Finally, we need to return to those values that made us a strong people: honesty, strong discipline, respect for each other, hard work and diligence, with an optimistic vision for our young people in order to keep them in our islands as future leaders and builders of a Virgin Islands economy that will encourage them and future generations to once again live and work in our homeland. The Christensen Ottley team is ready to go to work on your behalf. Basil and I have the blueprint, we have the know-how, and we have people with expertise to help us execute the plan. We do all this on your behalf, the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. We will always seek your input, we will be your humble servants, and we will not let you down. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed evening.